Hello everybody and welcome back to the Faceoff. In this video, we are going to be simulating an NHL version of March Madness. If you don't know what March Madness is, it's basically a 64-team college basketball tournament that takes place at the end of March. So what we've gone ahead and done here is we placed every NHL team, we've seeded them in a 32-team bracket in a single game elimination tournament. That means you lose one game and you're done for the whole tournament. Without further ado, let's get started on the 1 versus 32 matchup.
In the 1 versus 32 matchup, we have the Washington Capitals beating the San Jose Sharks. This is pretty self-explanatory. The Washington Capitals are hot. They're a really good team right now with some good goaltending, and Ovechkin scoring a couple goals. They can easily beat these guys.
Looking at the 16-17 matchup, obviously the most even matchup out of the bunch, we have the Calgary Flames taking the win over the Vancouver Canucks. We feel that obviously Dustin Wolf is going to play a huge factor. Oh boy, what a season he's had. We feel that he might steal a game. Maybe Calgary will win this game 1-0.
In our next matchup, we have the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Boston Bruins, and ultimately we feel like the two big dogs, McDavid and Draisaitl, are going to be too much for a young, rebuilding Boston team.
For the 8 versus 25, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs advancing over the Anaheim Ducks. We feel that Anaheim needs a few more years if we're being real here. They're a bit young, and Toronto just has the star power to match the young Anaheim team.
Vegas playing Buffalo. It's the Jack Eichel Derby. We do feel like Jack Eichel will have the last laugh here and take on the Buffalo Sabres and beat them. I think that he'll have a pretty monster game in this one.
For the New Jersey Devils versus New York Rangers series, we do have our first upset of the bracket, and that'll be the New York Rangers advancing over the New Jersey Devils.
Minnesota Wild and the New York Islanders. This is actually a pretty interesting matchup. You could easily say the New York Islanders, but ultimately we feel like the Minnesota Wild, with Kirill Kaprizov healthy, can easily beat the Islanders.
5 versus 28, probably one of the more lopsided matchups of the tournament. We have Colorado and Philly. Not much to say other than Nathan MacKinnon is a dog. I'm taking Colorado.
For our next matchup, we have the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, this matchup is a little lopsided here, as you can tell, 2 versus 31. Connor Bedard is good, but not great at the NHL level yet, and we ultimately think that Connor Hellebuyck and a bunch of guys from Winnipeg, Shifley, Velarde, and Connor can ultimately steal this one.
We got the 15 versus 18 matchup. Again, another very tight matchup. I do think this will be one of the more exciting ones of the first round. But in the end, we have the young, on-fire Montreal Canadiens taking home this one.
In our next matchup, we have another upset here. We have the Detroit Red Wings taking on the LA Kings, and ultimately we feel like the young, up-and-coming Detroit Red Wings can easily take this one. I would actually honestly be surprised if this game isn't a blowout. Watch out for a surprise in this one, folks.
Here we got a little bit of a lopsided one. Florida versus Pittsburgh. You know, Pittsburgh does have the old stars, Crosby, Malkin, Carlson, but in the end, we think that Florida's star power and just the way they forecheck and everything they got, they acquired Brad Marchand. That's going to be a little bit too much for them. We have the Rats taking this one.
In our next matchup, we have another lopsided one. We have the Dallas Stars taking on the Nashville Predators. Ultimately, it hasn't worked out for Nashville this year. Ultimately, we do think that the Dallas Stars will take the cake here. Mikko Rantanen, Wyatt Johnson, Rupe Hintz will all score a couple goals here. They'll win this one by a pretty big margin.
Ottawa versus Utah, you know, you got two teams that are both battling for those last wildcard spots in their respective conferences. Overall, we do have the fun, energetic Ottawa Senators here. Brady Tkachuk, the captain, will lead them to take this first round. Maybe they can go on a little bit of a run. Who knows?
Columbus Blue Jackets, Tampa Bay Lightning. This is a playoff series rematch where Columbus swept the Tampa Bay Lightning a few years ago. And we do think the Tampa Bay Lightning are end up going to losing to this one. The Columbus Blue Jackets are on fire, other than for late. Obviously, they've been a little cold recently. Their wildcard hopes seem to be a little distant right now. But ultimately, in a one-game matchup, the energetic, young, up-and-coming, fun Columbus Blue Jackets will take the cake.
Moving on to that 6 versus 27. Again, another pretty lopsided matchup. We got the Canes taking this one over the Seattle Kraken. Give it some time. Shane Wright, Matty Beniers will hopefully be able to switch the scores on this.
Okay, we're on to our second round of the thing. We're on to the round of 16. And in the round of 16, we have the Capitals taking on the Flames. And we do think that the Capitals will pull this one off. Obviously, a very good hockey team over there in Calgary and also in Washington. And we think their Washington's just a little too good here.
For the Canadian team matchup, Edmonton versus Toronto, in the end, you know, I'd love to see my Toronto Maple Leafs take this one home, but we do have the Edmonton Oilers coming out on top.
Our next matchup is the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the New York Rangers, and ultimately we think that the Vegas Golden Knights are just a little too good for the New York Rangers. Although the Rangers did beat the Devils in the first round, Vegas Golden Knights will take this one.
We got the 12th seeded Minnesota Wild facing off against the 5th seeded Colorado Avalanche. In the end, even with a healthy Kirill Kaprizov, we do think that the Minnesota Wild will fall short to the Colorado Avalanche. Again, they added at the deadline are a fantastic team as of late, have been playing some great hockey. We just think Colorado has a little bit too much star power and will overpower Minnesota in this game.
Winnipeg Jets versus Montreal Canadiens. Wait a few years, this matchup might be a little more close, but as of right now, the Winnipeg Jets easily take the cake.
Speaking of a matchup that might not be too close, we have the Detroit Red Wings and the Florida Panthers. We got Sunshine State taking this one over the Red Wings. Again, like Montreal, give it a few years, and this could be the complete opposite.
Next matchup is the Ottawa Senators and Dallas Stars. Again, give it a few years, and this matchup might be a little closer. This is a trend that we're seeing with all of these teams right now.
Except for this one, we have the Wait a second. Am I hearing another upset? Yes, I am. We have the Columbus Blue Jackets taking the cake over the Carolina Hurricanes. Wow, that is a massive upset. And who knows, maybe Columbus is going on a little bit of a Cinderella run here.
All right, back to the top left here. We have the Capitals taking on the Oilers. Ultimately, we think that McDavid and Draisaitl are a little too good for anybody in this matchup right now.
Vegas, Colorado, we have a playoff matchup from a few years ago. Overall, we are taking the Colorado Avalanche, just like what happened in that series. We just think McKinnon and company are no match for Jack Eichel.
Back to the top right here, we have the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Florida Panthers. Maybe this is a Stanley Cup final preview in the NHL this year, but we do think that the Florida Panthers will take the cake here. We think that Matthew Tkachuk and the Rats are a little too good for the Winnipeg Jets.
In the final matchup of the Elite Eight, we have the Dallas Stars taking it home against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Unfortunately, their spectacular Cinderella run has ended here. Dallas, they just added a little bit too much at the deadline. Definitely is a little bit too much for Columbus, so we have them taking it and moving on to the Final Four.
In our first semifinal matchup, we have the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Colorado Avalanche. This is going to be a really fun game to watch. Ultimately, we think that the Colorado Avalanche just have a little more firepower. They're playing a little better right now. They're just a little funner of a hockey team right now. And ultimately, I think that they're probably just a little bit better than the Edmonton Oilers right now.
For the matchup on the other side, Dallas and Florida, wow, this is going to be a fantastic matchup. Again, potentially another Stanley Cup final match that we could see this year. But overall, we do have the Florida Panthers taking this one home against the Dallas Stars. Like we said, it's a single-game elimination game, so honestly, anything could happen. Who knows? In a 7-game series, I'd love to watch that, but it could be completely different. But we have the Florida Panthers taking this one against Dallas, heading to the finals to play Colorado.
Colorado Avalanche fans, you did it. You won the Faceoff's NHL March Madness. You beat the Matthew Tkachuk and you beat the Rats. You were able to accomplish the greatest height in hockey history, even bigger than the Stanley Cup. Congratulations to you. Wow, what an achievement.
So that is going to do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Congrats to the Colorado Avalanche for winning this March Madness style bracket. But honestly, we just thought that this would be a fun idea to do, especially because it is March Madness season right now in college basketball. So we thought it would be something fun to try out. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button. Comment down below your thoughts. Were there any teams that you think didn't deserve to make it or any upsets you guys have? Let us know all that in the comment section below. And we will see you in the next one.